Mamie Van Doren. Mamie Van Doren, born Joan Lucille Olander, February 6, 1931, is an American actress, model, singer, and sex symbol. She is perhaps best remembered for the rock and roll, juvenile delinquency exploitation film Untamed Youth 1957. Early life. Van Doren was born on February 6, 1931, in Rowena, South Dakota, the daughter of Warner Carl Olander and Lucille Harriet Bennett. She is of three-quarters Swedish ancestry. The remainder is mixed English and German. In 1939, the family moved to Sioux City, Iowa, and then to Los Angeles during May 1942. In early 1946, Van Doren began working as an usher at the Pantages Theater in Hollywood. The following year, she had a bit part on an early television series. She sang with Ted Fiorito's band and entered several beauty contests. At age 17, she eloped to Santa Barbara, California, with Jack Newman, but because of his abusive nature, the marriage was quickly dissolved. In the summer of 1949, at age 18, she won the titles Miss 8 Ball and Miss Palm Springs. She was engaged to heavyweight boxing champion Jack Dempsey, but broke the engagement upon signing a contract with Universal Studios. Producer Howard Hughes discovered Van Doren when she was crowned Miss Palm Springs. The pair dated for several years. Hughes launched her career by placing her in several RKO films. Career. Early years 1951–1952. In 1950, Hughes provided Van Doren with a bit part in Jet Pilot at RKO Radio Pictures, which was her film debut. Her line of dialogue consisted of one word, "look," and she appears uncredited in the film. Though production of the movie was from 1949 to 1953, delays by Hughes, it was not released until 1957. The following year, 1951, she posed for pin-up girl artist Alberto Vargas. Van Doren did a few more bit parts in movies at RKO, including His Kind of Woman 1951, starring Robert Mitchum, Jane Russell, and Vincent Price. About her appearance in this movie, Van Doren said, "If you blinked you would miss me. I look barely old enough to drive." Van Doren then began working on the stage. She was a showgirl in New York City in Monty Proser's nightclub version of Billion Dollar Baby. Songwriter Jimmy McHugh discovered her for his musicals, then decided she was too good for the chorus line and should have dramatic training. She studied with Ben Bard and Bliss Hayden. While appearing in the role of Marie in a showcase production of Come Back, Little Sheba, Van Doren was seen by Phil Benjamin, a casting director at Universal International. Further success 1953–1959. On January 20, 1953, Van Doren signed a contract with Universal Studios. They had big plans for her, hoping she would bring the same kind of success that 20th Century Fox had with Marilyn Monroe. Van Doren, whose signing day coincided with the inauguration of President Eisenhower, was given the first name Mamie for Ike's wife. Other Van Dorens, who were unrelated to Mamie, were a prominent and noted family of American intellectuals. These Van Dorens included two Pulitzer Prize-winning brothers, Carl, biographer, and Mark, poet, and Mark's wife Dorothy, an academic and historian. Universal first cast Van Doren in a minor role as a singer in Forbidden. Interested in Van Doren's allure, Universal then cast her in the All-American 1953, also starring Tony Curtis, playing her first major role as Susie Ward, a wayward girl who is the man-trap at a campus beer joint. In Yankee Passion 1954, starring Jeff Chandler and Rhonda Fleming, she played a slave girl in a supporting role. In 1955, she had a supporting role in the musical Ain't Misbehavin' and starred in the crime drama Running Wild. Van Doren turned down a Broadway role in the play Will Success Spoil Rock Hunter? And was replaced by newcomer Jane Mansfield. In 1956, Van Doren appeared opposite a young and unknown Clint Eastwood in Star in the Dust. Though Van Doren garnered prominent billing alongside John Agar and Richard Boone, she appears rather briefly as the daughter of a ranch owner. By this time, Van Doren had grown tired of Universal, which was casting her in non-breakthrough roles. Van Doren began accepting bigger and better roles in better movies from other studios. Van Doren went on to star in several bad girl movies that later became cult films. She also appeared in some of the first movies to feature rock and roll music and became identified with this rebellious style, and she made some rock records. One of her rock and roll films, Untamed Youth, later was featured in the 1990 Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode Untamed Youth. Some of Van Doren's more noteworthy movies include Teacher's Pet 1958 at Paramount Pictures, Born Reckless 1958 at Warner Brothers, High School Confidential 1958, and The Beat Generation 1959, the latter two at Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. But Van Doren was just as well known for her provocative roles. She was in prison for Girls Town 1959, which provoked censors with a shower scene where audiences could see Van Doren's naked back. As Eve in The Private Lives of Adam and Eve 1960, she wore only fig leaves, and in other films, like The Beautiful Legs of Sabrina 1959, Sex Kittens Go to College 1960, and Vice Raid 1960, audiences understood the nature of the films from the titles. Many of Van Doren's film roles showcased her ample curves, and her on-screen wardrobe usually consisted of tight sweaters, low-cut blouses, form-fitting dresses, and daring-for-the-era swimsuits. But she and such other blonde bombshell contemporaries as Jane Mansfield, Cleo Moore, Sherry North, Anita Ekberg, Barbara Lang, Joy Lansing, Marilyn, Mamie, and Mansfield were known as the 3 M's. But by comparison, where Monroe succeeded in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes and Mansfield had big success replacing Van Doren in Will Success Spoil Rock Hunter. Universal stuck Van Doren with Francis the Talking Mule in Francis Joins the Wax 1954. 1960 present. Personal life. Van Doren has been married 5 times. In 1949, she married sportswear manufacturer Jack Newman. She divorced him later that same year. Her second marriage was to bandleader, composer and actor Ray Anthony, whom she married in 1955. They had one son, Perry Ray Anthony, born March 18, 1956. The couple divorced in 1961. When Van Doren's early 1960s, highly publicized, on-again, off-again engagement to baseball player Bo Belinsky ended in 1964, she married baseball player Lee Mayers in 1966. They divorced in 1968. Her fourth marriage was to businessman Ross McClintock in 1972. They met while working on President Nixon's re-election campaign. The marriage was annulled in 1973. Since 1979, she has been married to Thomas Dixon, an actor and dentist. In her autobiography, Van Doren acknowledged that she had numerous affairs with celebrities, including Clark Gable, Howard Hughes, Johnny Carson, Elvis Presley, Burt Reynolds, Jack Dempsey, Steve McQueen, Paul Daniels, Clint Eastwood, Johnny Rivers, Robert Evans, Eddie Fisher, Warren Beatty, Tony Curtis, Steve Cobb. Claiming fidelity to each lover, she said, "I don't wear panties anymore. This startles the Hollywood wolves so much they don't know what to pull at, so they leave me alone." She was never a Playboy playmate, but she posed twice for the magazine in 1964 to promote her movie Three Nuts in Search of a Bolt 1964. By this point in her career, her figure measured 38D-26-36-36, self-described in 1997. She said, "I don't even want to say double D because they are even bigger than that." In 1964, Van Doren was a guest at the Whiskey A Go Go on the Sunset Strip in West Hollywood, California, when the Beatles were at the club visiting with Jane Mansfield, and an inebriated George Harrison accidentally threw his drink on her when trying to throw it on some bothersome journalists. During the Vietnam War, She did tours for U.S. troops in Vietnam for 3 months in 1968 and again in 1970. In addition to USO shows, she visited hospitals, including the wards of amputees and burn victims. In 1980, Van Doren was referenced in the controversial Canadian Top 20 hit High School Confidential by the popular 1980s Canadian new wave band Rough Trade. In recent years, Van Doren has made use of multimedia, including Facebook and Twitter. She and her husband, Thomas, maintain her website where various merchandise along with homemade short films starring herself, such as A Girl and Her Banana, are available. It provides contemporary topless and nude photos and her outspoken political views. She has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame at 7057 Hollywood Boulevard. In 2005, a Golden Palm star on the Palm Springs Walk of Stars was dedicated to her. Film appearances, discography, albums, singles,